Hey everyone, I'm Felicia Kashiverov, ICF certified relationship coach and founder of Tend Task. Let me ask you something. When your relationship feels overwhelming, when you're fighting about the same things over and over, when one of you is drowning in mental load while the other seems oblivious, do you blame yourselves? Do you think you're just bad at this whole partnership thing? Here's what I need you to understand. Your relationship isn't broken. The system is. I can tell you with absolute certainty that the problems you're facing aren't personal failures. They're the predictable result of a system that was never designed for modern partnerships. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how this broken system is sabotaging your relationship and what you can actually do about it. Because the solution isn't more communication tips or date nights. It's recognizing that you're operating within structures that set you up to fail. Here's what's happening. You're trying to build a modern equal partnership using a blueprint designed for the 1950s, and then wondering why it's not working. Research from Harvard sociologist Alison Daminger reveals something fascinating about household labor. She studied 75 couples and found that women don't just do more physical housework. They do what she calls cognitive labor. That's anticipating needs, identifying options, making decisions, and monitoring progress. Think about it. Who remembers when the car needs an oil change? Who notices when you're out of toilet paper before it's too late? Who researches daycares, tracks kids' growth spurts, and remembers social obligations? Daminger's research found that men retained some of the power associated with decision-making and received credit for participating in cognitive activity without putting in the preparatory labor required to reach the decision stage. So, he gets to make the final call on the daycare after you've researched 12 options, scheduled tours, and compiled comparison spreadsheets. He gets decision-making power. You get the mental exhaustion. But here's where it gets truly insidious. We live in an economy that requires two incomes for most families to survive. Yet we're still operating under social expectations designed for single-earner households. You're both working full-time, but somehow she's still the default parent. Both exhausted from demanding careers, but she's the one tracking pediatrician appointments and birthday party gifts. Recent budget discussions around childcare and family support have made it crystal clear that our government systems aren't just failing to support dual career families. They're actively trying to roll back any progress that has been made and pull us back to a time when women couldn't even have their own bank accounts. We're told to lean in professionally while policies actively work against the systemic support that makes professional success possible. Here's the most damaging part. We've been convinced this is about personal choices and individual communication skills. Daminger's follow-up research on egalitarian couples reveals how we justify inequality. Even couples who identify as equal partnership advocates end up in traditional patterns, then explain it away as natural differences or who's better at what. You think he's just not good at noticing when things need to be done. You think she's naturally more organized. But these aren't personality traits. They're the result of being socialized into different expectations about whose job it is to manage the household. The system taught her from childhood that her worth depends on keeping everyone comfortable and cared for. It taught him that his job is to provide financially and make final decisions, not track the endless details of daily life. And then we wonder why you're both exhausted and resentful. Let me share what the research actually tells us about modern relationship problems, because the data will blow your mind. Daminger's research identified 4 distinct components of cognitive labor: anticipating household needs, identifying options for meeting those needs, deciding among the options, and monitoring the results. When researchers actually measured this invisible work, they found that women did more cognitive labor than men in 26 of the 32 heterosexual couples studied. Women took on more cognitive labor in 4.6 of 9 possible household areas, while men led in just 1.6 areas, typically finances or maintenance. Research from Carlson, Miller, and Rudd, published in the journal Socius, confirms that the gender division of housework is an important predictor of relationship satisfaction. Their 2020 study found that partner communication is actually the most important factor linking household labor division to relationship satisfaction. But here's the kicker: it works differently for men and women. Swedish research by Leah Roppener and colleagues found that unequal housework distribution tends to lead to lower levels of relationship satisfaction and higher breakup plans. In Sweden, one of the most gender-equal countries in the world. If egalitarian Sweden can't solve this with good intentions, what makes us think we can solve it with better communication skills? The pandemic provided a natural experiment in household dynamics. Research published in 2021 found that between February and April 2020, mothers with young children had reduced their work hours 4 to 5 times more than fathers, and were more likely to have exited the labor force altogether. When the system was stressed, it didn't default to equality. It defaulted to 1950s gender roles. Recent experimental research published in 2025 found that people still engage in trade-off calculations that to some extent justify unequal divisions of housework. And this happens at every stage of your relationship. During wedding planning, she's suddenly the detail person who handles all the vendor coordination while he helps with final decisions. When you have kids, she's naturally better with babies while he's the fun parent who swoops in for playtime. As you age, she becomes the caring one who manages aging parents' medical appointments and care coordination. So if the system is broken, what do? We stop trying to fix ourselves and we start building something new. Step 1, name the system. The first step is refusing to treat systemic problems as personal failures. When you're fighting about dishes, you're not just fighting about dishes. You're fighting about the system that taught one of you that cleanliness is a moral issue and the other that it's someone else's job to notice. Start saying it out loud. This isn't about our personalities. This is about the system we inherited. Step 2, map the invisible work. Use Daminger's framework to identify who's really doing what. Anticipating, who notices what needs to happen. Identifying, who researches options and solutions. Deciding, who makes the final calls. And monitoring, who follows up to ensure it gets done. Most couples find that one person, usually the woman, is doing 70 to 80% of the anticipating and monitoring, while decision-making feels more equal. Step 3, redistribute cognitive labor. Don't just divide tasks, divide the mental responsibility. If one partner is in charge of car maintenance, they need to anticipate when it's due, research mechanics, schedule appointments, and follow up, not just show up when their partner reminds them it's time. Create systems where both partners practice all 4 types of cognitive labor across different domains. Step 4, address the economic reality. Recognize that some of your struggles aren't about your relationship. They're about living in a society that doesn't support working families. Advocate for policy changes while building personal systems that work within current constraints. And step 5, regular system maintenance. This isn't going to be a one-time conversation. The system will keep trying to pull you back into default patterns. Schedule regular system checks to assess what's working and what needs adjustment. Here's what I want you to remember. You are not broken. Your communication challenges are a symptom of the problem, not the problem itself. You're good people trying to make a life together within a system that was never designed for your success. The solution isn't working harder within the broken system. It's building new systems that actually support modern partnerships. If you're ready to stop fighting the same fights and start building systems that actually work, I invite you to learn more about the TEND technique. It's my 12-week program specifically designed to help couples deconstruct these inherited patterns and build balanced, equitable partnerships from the ground up. The link is in the description. Your relationship isn't broken. The system is. Let's build something better.